optimization story. Now you know about your pelvis, your lower back, your upper back, and some of the most critical things when it comes to that. And what I'd like to do now is provide you a very special offer. Some full body fixers have been able to take advantage of this offer already. We have limited spots available for this, and we will offer this again on Friday, but I'm thinking by Friday we won't have any spots available. Patricia just told me, I think we have about 10 spots available for this, and we'll be offering at the next airing of this session as well. And that is for free. You can meet with me in a semi-private consultation, but this is specifically for individuals that really would like to learn about how to become what we call a VIP. And that's what we call our clients. We don't call our clients clients, we call them VIPs. So we have a world-class team of doctor and master level experts, of physiologists and orthopedic specialists, elite level trainers. And we'd love to share how that works with you. That's going beyond the full body fix. If you'd like to learn about that, schedule a semi-private consultation with me. The link is now in the chat. Patricia has dropped the link in the chat. You would simply go to the Zoom toolbar, click on chat, and then you could find the link. And then we have some available options to schedule that semi-private consultation with me. I'll learn about your goals, your objectives, hurdles you see standing in the way. We'll figure out if you're a good fit or not for our system. And I'll let you know that if I think you're a perfect fit, like what you want to achieve and what you see standing in the way. If I'm certain we can help you achieve that, and I'm certain we can help you overcome any hurdle that you're wanting to achieve with us, then I'll let you know that in the semi-private consultation. So I suggest if that's the kind of thing that's interesting to you and you'd like to really transform your body and really take what you're learning in the full body fix to the next level, go ahead and click in the chat now and schedule. And it's all about you session, where the session really is all about you. So I get to connect with you on a much deeper level. And there's usually about 3 to 5 individuals in the session. So it's a nice intimate setting. We have a great conversation. So with that, let's turn it over to questions and answers next. And what we'll do in this segment of our show is we will I get to connect with you now. So if you have questions, you have comments or positive shares, we will connect on that now. And the way that you would participate in this is by raising your digital hand. So you go to the bottom of your Zoom toolbar, you would click on reactions. So there's a thing that says reactions, and there's like a emoticon or smiley face with a plus sign on the top of the head. When you click on that, you'll see raise hand. Once you clicked raise hand, then I'll see your digital hand raised. And in the order of which our participants raise their hand is the order in which I'll call on you. So we'll now go into Q&A. And for you to participate in that, again, just one more time, for those that aren't familiar with Zoom, go to the Zoom toolbar, which is on the bottom of your computer screen there. You bring your cursor down and then you'll find reactions. Click on reactions. So you'll see a title reactions, and then click on raise hand. And that's how I know that you'd like to speak with me. All right, so I'll wait for our participants to raise their hands, and then we'll get started with Q&A. And Claire's up first with me here.
Okay.
Hi,
Hi there. So
Welcome.
I noticed, thank you. I'm already signed up, but I just noticed
I
in
know,
doing
yes,
this
yeah,
that
now you're a VIP. You're a VIP.
I'm
Yes.
a little daunted by the things I have to order, because I noticed my big ball is 65 centimeters. And when I was looking at the size, I'm supposed to get 55, right? Supposed to get a smaller ball. Is that right?
How tall are you, Claire?
5'2".
Yes, 55. Yes.
So I have to get a smaller ball.
Yes.
All right. But what I noticed in these exercises that because of my unevenness with my scoliosis, when I go with one foot forward and especially left foot forward and right foot back, I'm not steady. I have to hold on to something, and I know you said put the weight in the heel, in the front heel, probably, and the whole back foot maybe. So, and I'm very aware, like, to make the hips even, but am I not really squeezing the lower, like the glutes? Aren't I squeezing the glutes too to keep steady? Because it takes a lot to keep myself from feeling unbalanced.
Right. Yeah,
Just
it's
wondering
very
what.
normal. At first, that's very normal, especially, well, first of all, most people aren't used to keeping their feet like straight. They always turn one foot out and create that compensation, which, as we know from the foot and
Yeah.
ankle session, will, put your feet in position where you're actually not fully elongating the tissues on the backside of your leg. So what happens, Claire, is you're used to doing X, and then to be biomechanically optimized, I'm having you do Y. And when you do Y, so for example, foot turned out, pelvis going out just a little bit, leaning just a little bit, right, differently, or maybe a lot differently. So when you really start to get aligned and you really start to get centered, what you're doing is you're asking your nervous system to send these signals down this nervous system highway, if you will. Okay. And it's like, it's a 1-lane road right now. There's a 1-lane road of signals. You got to, if they can get backed up in traffic, it's not a really strong signal. So what happens is the more you hold that position and the more you train in alignment, you'll start growing a 2-lane road and a 4-lane road. Eventually you develop a neurological highway connecting there. Very normal to feel unstable and balanced. And that is the activity that we do. So you learn how to develop the skill. So you acquire the skill we call skill acquisition, just like an athlete, for biomechanically optimizing your body, for holding your body in the proper position, alignment, stabilizing, getting the right muscle fibers to fire to do that. And that's a new process. So it's not going to immediately feel, oh, okay, yep, perfect.
Right.
All right, now.
Right.
And
when I squatted, I couldn't get down very far. If I'm supposed to keep my knees from going beyond my second and third toe, I'm not supposed to go forward beyond the toes. So I couldn't get down hardly at all. And I noticed that he was going forward as well. And he looked like he was sticking out his butt, So it looks like a different kind of squat.
Yeah,
because you're supposed to keep the pelvis in an even keel and not tilt it one way or the other when you're squatting. So it looked like you have to tilt it in order to do a real squat. I didn't want to do that because I didn't want to tilt.
That's a good, it's a really good delineation we need to make. And so, yes, in the squat, you want your butt to go pretty far backwards and pressure primarily in the heels. You want your toes spread like this. So you want to spread your toes like this and then primarily pressure in the heels. And then what you want is you want to keep the pelvis neutral, but what needs to be understood, I'll adjust my camera a bit here to show you better in my office here, because I'm not in the gym anymore. But so my pelvis is neutral now. Okay, so I don't have a big lower back arch. I don't have my butt tucked under, right? And now when you go to squat, it's the relationship of the pelvis to the spine that's really being neutral. So as we go to squat back, if I keep my pelvis in that same alignment, yes, you're correct. And you're thinking like, oh, isn't the pelvis anteriorly tipping forward? Yes, but the relationship of it with the spine is still neutral, okay? So its position at the joint level is still neutral. So you're coming down like this. So what you're not doing is like rounding the pelvis to lean forward or arching the back, but the pelvis is actually still neutral. So the pelvis is tipping forward, but it's still maintained in that neutral, stabilized position.
Yeah, I don't think I can get down that far. But, like if you're going to go pick something up, I'm told, you should bend your knees and really get down rather than bend over. So then you're not quite in the right alignment, I guess. You could keep your feet forward and then, tip on your toes maybe and bend down, rather than bend forward, because bending forward is a disaster.
Yeah, you don't want to raise your heels. You don't want to raise your heels when you squat. So if you're only on the balls of your feet, then you're going to raise your heels. That's a lot of what we call patellofemoral pressure. So
right, but what about bending down to pick something up, to be not doing it wrong. I'm gonna have to open my legs wide and kind of go down and squat like a ballerina, pick it up.
A little bit at first. Honestly, that's something that takes some individuals months to learn, but
Sit in a
they do,
chair.
but they do get there. Yeah, we use a chair. We use bands in the training system where you hold onto the band to squat, to feel more stable, to be able to feel that balance point of keeping your torso upright. What you want is between your tibia. So your tibia is your lower leg. Okay.
Yep.
So if you're looking at me sideways squatting, you want the tibia and the spine to be parallel.
Okay.
That's the goal. So if your
Yeah.
tibia is like this and your back's, here, then that's more of like a deadlift type of position. We want your tibia and your spine to match those angles.
And weight in the heels.
Yeah, primarily the weight in the heels. Yeah. And we do an exercise called squat stretch in your VIP training. It will really help you develop the deep squat safely. And then we modify the exercise as needed, going to a chair, using a band assistance for support. And over reps and reps and reps and reps, you will get better and better and deeper range of motion. And yeah.
I really like the breathing into the back, and sucking in the belly. It really was very strengthening. I like that a lot.
Awesome. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. And then it's really clear, how do we, like, the performance side in biomechanical optimization is really, how do you tie all those things together, keeping the pelvis neutral even though you're squatting, and then doing the thoracic align and having all that happen at the same time. And so that's why we break it down one piece at a time, and then we start to put it back together again, where it becomes super functional. And then that goes into daily activities and everything else. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're so welcome, Claire. Welcome, and welcome as a VIP. Yep. We're going to certainly teach you how to do all of those things really, really well. And next up is Romia, if you would please correct me if I'm pronouncing your name incorrectly. You're not unmuted yet, but we'll send you a link there to unmute. There we go. Yes.
It's Romila.
Say again.
It's Romila.
Romila. Okay, all right.
Hi, I'm from South Africa. I started your sessions. I love it. My main question is, I always start exercise and then I stop because of my back. I have a disc prolapse level 4 and 5. That's what the doctors have told me. So what I do is, when I start exercising, I'm good. I'm feeling light. I like it. And then I don't know what happens with the exercise, or maybe my posture is not right, that my back starts troubling me again. And then I stop exercising. I have to treat my back. And then for a while, I'm stop exercising, and then I start again. So these exercises that you showed me today for the back, will it help my level 4 and 5 prolapse disc?
Yes, definitely. Yeah. Yeah. When keeping your back in better alignment in any physical activity is going to significantly help keep from adding that additional pressure to that disc. Yeah. Yeah. It's really huge.
I do realize that some of the exercises you do show also appear in yoga. Some of the methods that you did show the last time, does it have any link to some of the yoga exercises?
Yeah, yoga has been around almost forever, for a long time, like 6,000 years, basically. But so these are movements of the human body. So although you can find some movements that I do in yoga, I don't really look at it necessarily as yoga. I look at it as, this is what the human biomechanics need to be, and this is how to train the human. I don't look at it as yoga. Yoga's like a subcategory of how to use your body mechanics. I look at it as body mechanics. But yeah, there's I don't really look at it like that, but there are some things that we do, like even in yoga, you might do a plank, you might do bend over certain positions, but I don't really look at it as yoga necessarily. But yeah, that's how I look at it.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. And thank you for the exercises. They're great.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome, Romila.
Okay, then you have a good day.
You
Bye.
too. You too. So full body fixers, just want to give one more opportunity here before we close out the session. Anyone who has questions, comments, anything you'd like to share. And next up, we have Raji. Hello, Raji. Welcome.
Are we good?
Yep, we are good. Yep, and I can
Okay.
hear you. Yep.
I just want to know the lunge position when you say the back foot has to be 100% 90 degrees, or can it be a little angled?
Ideally, it should be straight.
Okay, because
Yeah.
I do notice there's some, angle there. So, and I've noticed with my husband that most of the time he's not able to, and he's not steady at all. So does that involve ankle mobility?
Oh yeah.
He has to,
Oh yeah.
okay.
Oh
All
yeah.
right,
Yeah,
okay.
definitely. Yeah. And
Okay.
that's like almost everybody, when they first learn keep the feet straight, they think they're straight and they turn the foot out. So first of all, it's really good catch and awareness for you that not only did you notice yourself, but you noticed your husband's alignment. So you're a smart lady. It was really good.
Thank you.
But yeah, you want the feet to be straight, because what you're doing is you're training perfect biomechanics. And so, this is not perfect biomechanics. You don't want to walk like that, for example, because of many reasons that we've talked about so far. For example, in the foot and ankle segment, you learned that if you do this, you're going to shorten the tissues on the backside of your lower leg, and that's going to lead to the foot falling in, the knee falling in. Then you learned in the knee and hip segment, if you do that and your knee's going straight and your foot's going out, that creates shear stress and breakdown of the knee, degeneration over time. So yeah, it's really important to train that straight foot position.
Okay. I think I have metatarsalgia. Like I have some pain under my big toe. So what does that, what do I need? Where am I deficient, or what I need to correct?
So it's interesting because you're talking about how, you're really kind of, your foot turns out enough that you're like, hey, can I kind of like keep my foot out? And so that's telling me like, well, you're getting a lot of pressure towards the first metatarsal, and that can help develop metatarsalgia. So which is basically pain behind behind the big toe. So yeah, you're just getting excessive stress in there. But once you start to get your feet more straight in the majority of your activities, you'll decrease the undue stress. In other words, the excessive unneeded stress on that part of your foot. And then your foot, you're going to start loading your foot in a more even type of way to where you're not excessively stressing one aspect of the foot. So that's going to help you a lot. Yeah.
Okay. I was wondering would you be able to help someone that has a host of other issues? Like my mom, she has compression, major compression in her spine, and then she has RA and, all other stuff. So I'm just wondering if she'd be able to find any relief, and she's 75. So, she's not able to do a lot of stuff. So is that even possible with you guys?
Yeah, we have systems in place to help individuals like this, and we have VIPs exactly like this. That's not the majority of our VIPs, but we have systems specifically for this, and we have the team for this as well. So we have also one option is we have a private. You have you meet with the doctor every week for an hour. So they would analyze her, assess her, give her specific routine, and then also help her to be able to follow the foundational system, but adjust it for her. So that's what we call our VIP Platinum. It's a VIP Platinum. But yeah, we have systems for this. Yeah.
Okay. Where do I get like the cost assessments, and do you have anything on the website, or is it only one-on-one?
if you message Patricia, she can give you that
Okay.
information and then help you
Sure.
find your best way, whether it's scheduling a semi-private consultation with me, and then also she can find that way. But if you want to go and chat and just look up Patricia Stahl, I think her profile is
Uh-huh.
titled.
I will send
Uh,
you a message right now. so
There you go.
have it.
Sure.
Super,
Okay.
super,
Thanks,
super
Patricia.
service, even better. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Another thing is I have pain on my left shoulder here. Sometimes it's not there all the time. So when I'm working, sometimes I feel this pinch, or I don't know. It's like a strong pain. It's there, it's not there. It just comes and goes. It depends. So is that to do with the spine or?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. You're putting your cervical spine like especially with seated, you're changing the position where it's putting pressure on the nerves, and it's adding excess stress to the tissue, and your nervous system knows that that's not a good position for you. So it sends out pain signals. My suggestion is to do like a standing desk sometimes. So standing desk all the time is also not good. Like if an individual is not used to standing desk and you try to just switch to like hours on end of standing, that's not going to work out very well either, because the tissues are not adapted to that. So you might get pain in your feet and hit and all kinds of stuff. But what you want to do is just not stay seated. So as soon as you feel that thing coming on, stand, change your position. Like for example, for me in my office, I always have pillows. So I'll kneel. So I kneel, and then I have a standing desk, so it's adjustable. You can adjust at any height. So I can kneel on the pillows and then work from there with 2 knees, 1 knee, and then I change the kneeling position. When you do kneeling though, when you're working, you want to have a really good soft support. It's not like, oh yeah, I had a little pillow. No, you want to have like a lot of pillow, because to just stay on your knee for a sustained period of time, your body's also not used to that. So I wouldn't suggest that. But also when you kneel, you want to have like, I'll show you. So for example, like in my office, I have, I use all of this just to kneel on. And so when I kneel, I'll kneel on the front side, and then the shin will also be on here. So it's not just on the knee. It's like the shin is being supported and the knee. So you're not all the pressure on the knee, and it's a lot of pillow, right? So then what you do is you use the best posture you can when you're seated. And when that's like, my back, my neck, I'm feeling a little stiff, stand and do some movement. Like if you need to watch a video or read something or read a document or whatever your work entails, do a little motion. Like another thing that I do, I'll show you. So I have a stepper in my office. So, if I'm need to review videos, which I do all the time for a team, or I'm watching and analyzing clients, I can just start doing my stepping while I'm working. But then if you need to like, okay, now I need to type, now I need to focus. Okay, we're going to sit, we're going to focus, we're going to type, or we might stand to do that. So depending on what the work entails, you start changing your positioning, but you never just sit there for hours on end. That's what really gets you. So those are some things to think about in terms of like how to really make your work environment much more ergonomical for you.
Okay. So even if I'm standing and washing dishes, I feel the pain. So what is that? I can't figure out.
Well, standing washing dishes is usually going to be in a position like this. The head's forward.
The head. Oh, okay.
Stress on the spine. And depending on how long you do that activity, and depending, maybe you just came from seated in the chair for 2 hours, and now you went to wash the dishes. So your tissues are already stressed from what you're just doing. And now even in maybe the first 5 minutes, I don't know, but maybe it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes into washing dishes, you start feeling that, well, but what were you doing before? You probably weren't doing something totally biomechanically optimized for your body right before. If you were, you're probably going to be able to go further into washing dishes before you get any types of pain. Right. So what I encourage is to like first of all, if you kind of did the things that I was talking about, then when you went to wash dishes, the likelihood of that happening is very small. But maybe over, depending on how much time you're spending in that position, you may need to take a short break from that, work on your alignment, and then go back to that activity. What ends up happening over time is when you go from X, right, you're at X, you're sitting a lot, you're using, not the best posture, washing dishes because of awareness of, positioning like we're talking about. When you start trying to optimize the position, sometimes it'll feel difficult. It'll feel sore. It's not readily easy because your body's not adapted to that aligned position. If it was, then you would just naturally be in that pattern. So we also have to adapt to these optimized positions also. So in other words, if you go to wash dishes with perfect posture, you're going to feel like, man, it's a little difficult to hold my body in this perfect alignment for like 10, 15 minutes. Yeah, because your tissues aren't used to holding in that position. Even though it's better for you, even though you have less joint stress, even though your tissues will be stronger in that position, it's currently not used to that.
Okay.
So each like angle and position the tissue strengthens for. So when you start to use these new angles and positions, then the tissues get stronger to support that. So there has to be kind of like an adaptation phase into that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but typically how long does it take for you to adapt to the optimized position?
Two things depends on the fitness level of the individual, in this case you, and it also depends on how far away from alignment are you. So for example, if we're talking about a person doing a squat with really optimized mechanics and they have 14 degrees of dorsiflexion, which is like 12, 15 degrees off from ideal to get a full deep squat. So if they're that far away, they need to change ankle range of motion. Maybe they have never squatted like that, or for years and years and years, they don't do much physical activity. So it depends on all these factors to be able to get there. But a simple answer is somewhere between, depending on those factors, somewhere between like a week or two to like 3-4 months, to 3 to 4 months. And they do have research on like how many repetitions does it take to retrain a motor pattern. In other words, to really, you don't even have to think about it, and now you're in this aligned position. And it's a 3 to 30,000 repetitions. So I know that's a big gap, but that's the way the research was done. So 3,000 to 30,000 repetitions. So if you think about like every 10 seconds washing the dishes under alignment as like a repetition, right? So then you could figure out like, okay, well, how long does that take for that specific type of activity? And then different exercises you do can build into other activities. So if you're working at exercise in alignment and moving your arms and doing different things, that can transfer to washing dishes and body alignment because you're training the tissues in the same way that it's needed. So you think about all of the mechanics and the tissues that need to be used for an activity, and about 3 to 30,000 repetitions in that direction can help, will redevelop it to where it becomes like involuntary, will be natural, like you don't have to think about it.
Okay, all right. Now, I was just thinking when you said squats, I did notice that you need to have it 90 degrees, your toes pointed 90 degrees with your patella between the second and third. But there are like, when you go wider than hip wide, can your toes go angled, or it still needs to be, I mean, I don't think
if you're going
possible,
to do exercise, if you're going to do exercise or motions with your toes out, you always want to make sure that your knee is still going in line with your second and third toe. Yeah, that's the really important fact. Yeah, it's not like so bad for you to turn your feet out and do some squats or squat down and pick something up, but you don't want to train that way, because you want to train with your feet straight. And then like if you're doing a lunge, you should only be about hip width a little bit further, because it's in line with how wide are your bones coming out of your hips. You actually should match it with your bones coming out of your hips. So it's just this natural straight line of your hip that has the femoral neck, right? The top of your leg bone has a neck that comes in and plugs in with your pelvis. So then your femur would be like this bone here. So it plugs in like that. So depending on this width of the hips, you want to have that same width for your lunges. Does that make sense? That's the width that you want to use.
Yeah. Just your walking stride. Is that what?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then with squats about like this, maybe a little bit wider. And then you want your feet to be straight, because there's rotating tissues in your hips. and you don't want to train those rotating tissues in your hips to function short. Because if you train a tissue in a short position, it's going to get good at functioning in a short position. So when we open our toes and then we do things like squats, we're training the tissues to function in a short position. And then that starts creating more tightness and stiffness in the tissues, because they only, as soon as you go to do something, they want to go stiff because you've trained them to go short under load. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you're talking about right here, right? It's like right there.
Yeah,
It shortens.
back more.
Okay. Oh, like.
Back. Yeah, they
Okay.
attach about where you touched at first, but then these
Okay.
tissues, they run this way.
Okay. Okay.
So you have 6 internal rotator muscles that of the hip that all run this way. So like, for
Okay.
example, the piriformis tissue is a rotational tissue, is a laterally running transverse plane tissue, this motion here. And that's the tissue the same that oftentimes gives people sciatic pain nerve and sciatica, because those tissues get tight or weak. If a tissue is weak, it'll shorten. And it can also shorten if it's been strength trained or daily movement trained to function in a short position. So that's why it's so important to train all your positions in a perfect alignment, keeps the excess stress off the joints, keeps the nerves that run through the tissues from being trapped and impinged, and all of these things. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. That was very
You're-
informative. All
You're
right,
very
appreciate
welcome. I'm
All
happy
right.
to share with you. Yeah, and look forward
you.
to have more conversation to help your mom or potentially you as well. Yeah.
Sure. Thanks.
You're welcome. And next up with me, I have Dawn. Hi, Dawn.
Hello. Sorry, I'm outside. I hope it's not too noisy.
Oh, good. Oh,
Um,
good. Going on a nice walk. That's awesome.
So I love all your tips. Thank you. And I want to go back to, talking about washing the dishes. This is something we all have to do. Some of us are a lot taller than others. I have a family of extraordinarily tall people. You just don't find sinks and things that are ergonomically friendly for us.
Yeah.
Our heads are very much down. Any just tips? I mean, obviously, the more you're trained to be in correct positions, the better. And I loved your tips about moving away and doing something to make sure you are aligned. But any hot tips for especially tall people for doing everyday things to keep healthy?
Yeah, just remember, like we talked about today, like when you're going to bend over, don't round the back and arch, but try to keep the pelvis neutral. And then, this is a human movement. We're supposed to be able to bring our chin to our chest. So it's not necessarily bad to bring your chin to your chest. It's just when we start loading the tissue like that for sustained periods of time, or have any type of stress, like rotational and misaligned. So in the whole segment of the spine, one thing that really causes an issue is when you rotate with misalignment. Like that's one of the biggest things that causes all like the disc prolapse and all the lower back stuff that people have. It's oftentimes caused by misalignment and then rotation. That's like the number one way that's caused. So pelvis neutral, body line, thoracic extension, and then move your head. So my suggestion is to do that, or, depending on height and ergonomic, if you have like you can, depending on how tall you are and how short the sink is, you might kneel on a high structure, change your positioning. So you could kneel on, like, if you have like a chair that has a nice soft pad, you can kneel for example, if I bring my office chair in here, now I'm kneeling.
Yeah.
So I could and even if you're in meetings, they don't even know, you wouldn't know if I'm kneeling right now. So you could do this and then do dishes. And I just lowered my height, several inches. And now I could do dishes from here. And that's changing the positioning. And because of the kneeling position, I'm having to have my hips really straight. So I would suggest that type of thing as well. And then working the body.
Helpful.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate
You're welcome. Yes. Great questions.
Thanks. Have a good day.
You too. You too. Make it an awesome day. We're going to give just one more opportunity here, Full Body Fixers, for any questions, comments, or positive shares that you have before we sign off from this first airing of session 3 of the Full Body Fix. So we'll give one more opportunity here for any questions, comments, or positive shares for this session 1 airing. Sorry, session 3 airing. The first airing of session 3 of the Full Body Fix. Patricia, anything you'd like to share before we close the meeting?
We are going to leave the meeting open. So if you came after we had started Q&A and you didn't get a chance to watch the full session, we're going to leave the meeting open and you can stay here hanging out with us, and we are going to start in 19 minutes.